So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all back in this live session by Drishti IAS, and sorry for the delay, there was some internet issue, so we'll start the session now. So basically I have read some comments and people were saying that I should discuss the editorials as well. So we have this series named editorial analysis on Drishti IAS channel, because editorial takes a good amount of time to discuss it, because obviously they are already experts opinion, so we have to dwell deeper into that. So that is why we cannot do it in this live session, because it is a matter of time here. So basically we are doing this series editorial analysis every day from Monday to Thursday, so you can go there and watch. I will put the description link in the description. Okay, so let's start with the today's Indian Express newspaper. As I told you that it was we cover weekends news on Monday, so we'll start with the weekends news and then we'll move towards the today's newspaper. Okay, so here you can see, hold on. Yeah, so we'll start with the news from weekends and then we'll move forward with the today's newspaper. We'll discuss these three important articles as usual. Aadhaar based consent for kids. So there is some kind of framework government is coming up with that. Whenever a kid is want to use your any kind of application based system, or let's say internet surfing internet, so they would require a consent of the parent. Okay, so that there cannot be a misuse or any kind of negative impact on the psychology of a kid. Okay, so that is why Aadhaar based consent would be there. So this is just a framework they are talking about, they are consulting it. It is not yet fully framed, or there is no draft yet, but still we will have a look at it, what they are talking about. Okay, then post office bill. This has been in news for a while now, because the last time we amended this bill was a long back. Okay, so that is why we will talk about this bill. And then India's China plus strategy. As I told you in the further, or you can say in the last classes, that there is a change in the geo-economics of the world. Okay, China is not growing at the rate it was supposed to grow, and now there is some kind of slowdown. It is growing at the rate of 4 or to 4.5. When we are talking about the global economy, in that respect, India is doing quite well on this front, because India is growing at the fastest pace right now. Okay, so considering all these things, India is considering that India should be part of the supply chain, wherein most of the countries are dependent on China. When we are talking about few their manufacturing units, etc., let's say even India is dependent on China for APIs, etc. So now India is taking or making one strategy wherein India can be an alternative to China, wherein India can be a manufacturing hub and provide for an alternative to China in the region, or you can say in the global economy. So we will talk about that, and then world affairs will see one or two news, and then we'll go to the practice question. Here also today I have taken one article for your own read, so I will let you know about it. It is Sunday's newspaper. Here, Aadhaar based consent form children to go online. So we'll start with the first article, which is this one only. Parental consent in data protection rules. Okay, so data protection has been in news for a while, because there are certain kind of limitation attached to it. There are certain concern attached to data protection, and when we are talking about the use of the internet and its effect on the today's generation or the future generations to come, in that respect this particular thing becomes important, because what kind of content kids are surfing on the internet becomes important, or they have some, you can say, important impact on their psychology. Okay, so that is why this is a step forward in that direction. So government is going for a Aadhaar based consent for children to go online. Okay, wherein application, or let's say a child is using the mobile phone or surfing internet, for that they need some kind of proof related to the age. Okay, right now most of the website etc have this guideline that they will put there is a warning that it is 18 plus content, or let's say YouTube have safeguards for kids etc, but ultimately they are not foolproof. So that is why here they are attaching this particular ID with the Aadhaar, and wherein parents can give permission if their children can surf particular type of content or not. Okay, now this is a closed door meeting with the industry scheduled on December 19, wherein all the stakeholders has talked about this. Using an Aadhaar based system to verify children's age for using online services and to gather their parents' consent. Okay. Now, key among the rules to be framed by the government in consultation with the stakeholders are those related to parental consent for children before they could browse the internet without revealing Aadhaar details of user. Internet platform will be able to obtain simple yes or no response from the Aadhaar database. Okay, wherein they are saying that there will be a procedure or there will be a framework where we will get the consent from the parents, but there will be no sharing of the data. There will be only yes or no related to answer. Okay, related answers, or you can say related response. Okay, so there is no sharing of data with the platform or industry based platform. Okay, let's say there is a company, or let's say we'll talk about YouTube only. If there is a YouTube and then they will go for this particular framework, so YouTube will come up with a mechanism where they will ask for the consent. Government from their database will give a notification to their parents. If they say yes, then they will say yes or no response. There will be no data sharing from Aadhaar database. Okay, so ministry behind it is Ministry of Electronics and IT. They have started this consultation yet, and there is no draft came out yet, but we will discuss the basic idea behind it. Okay. Proposed changes in the data protection rules, age verification for online services, introduction of Aadhaar based verification for children's age before accessing online platform, requiring parental consent for those who are under 18. Okay, so that is the legal definition for a minor in India. Then moving further, consent framework for children's access. There are two frameworks they have come up with. They are saying that there are two options available to us, that is verification method using DigiLocker or electronic token system. Okay, so DigiLocker of the parents link their children's Aadhaar to DigiLocker for platforms to confirm user age. Okay, so they will give this or link their children's Aadhaar in the DigiLocker, and using some kind of mechanism they will use data from the DigiLocker only. Okay, or the response from the DigiLocker. Then electronic token system, wherein an industry developed system will be there, or you can say industry developed consent manager. Okay, this manager is basically the system or an application or a software. Okay, to verify user age through government ID approved if sanctioned by the government. So here what they will do is they will have some kind of mechanism wherein you will put your government ID, and then government from their database will say that that person is above 18 or not. If government sanctions that it is above 18, then they can browse the content. Okay, so that is the framework. They are using DigiLocker where parents can give you the consent, and here government can sanction it. Okay, so there are these two mechanisms. Then safeguarding privacy, here they have said that only response related to yes or no will be given. There will be no sharing of data. Okay, the Aadhaar based method ensures platform don't access users Aadhaar details, merely saying a yes or no response. That's it. Okay. Exemptions and limited proceedings, here they have exempted few things like any application which is based for any kind of welfare service, or let's say education or health related things, they have given some kind of exemption. Okay, or let's say there is something which does not require age related constraint, wherein they do not require any such mechanism to go for any kind of verification of age. Okay, so that is about the exemptions which they have kept out of this particular framework. Okay, so this is the crux of this article. Okay, other than that, when these rules are made in implementation, we will discuss that. Right now, this is all you need to know. Okay, other than that, there was this data breach notification. Okay, wherein there will be two states. One, when there is a data breach, this is duty of government to tell them there has been a data breach. Okay, and after some 72 hours you have to give comprehensive information that what kind of data breach has happened. Okay, that is for the you can say, let's say, consumer, or you can say user of the platform. For them, tech companies or government mandate to inform users immediately about the data breaches with initial details followed by the comprehensive information within 72 hours. So government has said that all the companies, all the industry managers who are making these applications, if there is a data breach, you have to give the information. Okay, then penalties. If you are non-adherent to these norms, if you are not following these norms, then you have to go for a penalty. You have to give a penalty or fine, that is because of for the data breach, and that fine can be up to 250 crore, okay, as per the Data Protection Act. So that is about a safeguard for the data protection. Okay. Now moving forward, PM Modi, Oman Sultan adopt vision document, discuss Gaza. So Oman Sultan Haitham bin Tariq has come to India and visited India, wherein they have talked with the PM and President. They have adopted a vision document. Now this document is in line with the you can say Oman's Vision 2040 and India's vision of Amrit Kal. We have this vision document related to Amrit Kal, and then Oman has their own vision document that is related to Vision 2040. So whatever vision document we have signed with Oman or we have come up with, that is in line with these two documents. Okay, that is one thing. Other than that, they have discussed few things related to, let's say, conflict in Gaza. Okay, same things, that civilians casualty should be minimized and humanitarian action should be taken, all these things. Okay, and then they have talked about the challenge of terrorism. Okay, terrorism everywhere basically, but in this context they are basically here talking about Hamas. Okay, they have not mentioned it, but they have since they are talking about Gaza here and two-state solution, we can say that they are talking about Hamas here. Okay, so that is another thing. Here they have talked about terrorism, two-state solution, and that issue which is going on in Gaza. Other than that, there are certain sectors wherein more than 8 to 10 sectors wherein we are going to collaborate. Let's say agreements on cooperation in the field of information technology, combating financial crimes, culture, and establishing a Hindi chair of the Indian Council of Culture Relation in Oman. Okay, so this Hindi chair will be established over there. Other than that, there are field of information technology. Okay, even there are chances that they will adopt the UPI system of India. Okay, so that is here somewhere. Possibility of Oman utilizing India's digital payment system UPI with corresponding Omani platforms. Okay, other than that, they have this one fund. Okay, here somewhere, Oman India Investment Fund. Okay, that is worth 300 million US dollars. That is a 50-50 endeavor between SBI from India's side and then Oman's Investment Authority. Okay, so that is about this fund, which is for you can say wherein used for channelizing the investment in the two countries, or you can say fastest growing sector of Indian economy. Okay, so that is a 50-50 percent related fund, that is SBI and Oman Investment Authority. Fund name is Oman India Investment Fund, worth US dollar 300 million. Okay, they will not ask into details of it, but when you are writing an answer for your mains etc., if they ask some country related to Oman or something, or let's say in the Asian countries, you can mention all these things. Okay, then vision document we have talked about. Then other thing they have talked about here is that the comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Okay, so this agreement will integrate India and Oman's economy, and you can say will be fruitful for both the countries. Okay, other than that, there are maritime cooperation, connectivity, digital payment, space, green energy, tourism, agriculture, food security, and cricket, clean energy and green hydrogen. So all these things are basically generic terms which you can use if you have a little bit idea of the relations. If they have anything like that, you can mention all these things. Okay, so this is about this particular article. This is just an information. If out of nowhere they ask about the relation between India or Asian Middle East Asian countries or Oman, so you can mention all these things. Okay, now moving further, Navy rushes to assist Malta ship hijacked in Arabian Sea. So basically this Malta is a country in Mediterranean, or you can say Malta is a island nation in Mediterranean. So there was a ship which was traveling through Arabian Sea, mostly Gulf of Aden area, and it was hijacked by pirates. Okay, so India has a commitment when we are talking about tackling piracy. So that is why India has rushed for the assist of this Malta ship. There is nothing much important from this particular article, but the thing is you should have a idea about the location of Malta, and they have also mentioned Somalia somewhere. So, responding to a distress call, the Indian Navy swiftly deployed aircraft and a warship to assist Malta flagged ship hijacked in the Arabian Sea. Sailing towards Somalian coast, this particular vessel, MV Ruan vessel with 18 crew on the board sent to distress call, indicating that there are six number of hijackers. Okay, so that is why India has gone. We have this naval maritime patrol aircraft tackling piracy in the Gulf of Aden. Okay. Here, Indian Navy remains committed to being the first responder in the region and ensuring the safety of merchant shipping along with international partners and friendly foreign countries. So, basically this particular action is for your fighting piracy. You can say India is committed to it and India is the first responder in the region. Okay. So, when we are talking about India providing security in the region, this can be the one example. Okay. Here now they have talked about Somalia and Gulf of Aden. Okay. So, this is your Africa and this area here, this particular, or you can say this water body here is Gulf of Aden. Here you can see this is Gulf of Aden. Okay. And then this country here on the Horn of Africa, okay, that is Somalia. So, they were somewhere here, okay, that Malta ship, they were somewhere here and they got hijacked. Other than that, we have talked about Horn of Africa, okay, Eritrea, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, that is Somalia, Sudan. Okay, so we have discussed all these things, so that can be important for your map based question. Okay. Now, moving further, one more thing they can ask about, you can say the boundaries about, let's say, Gulf of Aden, when we are talking about with which countries they have these coastal boundaries, let's say Yemen, Djibouti, Somalia. Most of the time you know that they might ask you about the boundaries of Red Sea, etc. So, that can be an important question here. And they have also mentioned this Malta, Malta ship was hijacked. So, this Malta is a island nation in Mediterranean Sea. Okay, there are some important let's say islands, let's say Sardinia, this island belong to Italy. Then there is this island Sicily. Okay, this also belongs to Italy. Okay, but when we are talking about this Malta, Malta is a very small island, but still it is an island nation. Okay, it is a nation, sovereign nation in itself. Okay, so that is about this location here. You can see this particular area when we are talking about now. Okay, this Libya and Mediterranean and Italy. So this is also a migration route. Most of the illegal migration inside the Europe happens in this particular area. Okay. So that is also a migration route from Libya, Mediterranean to Europe. Okay. Moving further, we will discuss that in further articles. Iran announces visa-free travel for Indians. So basically there are two things. Visa-free travel means that Iran wants to diversify their economy and they want to enhance their tourism sector. Okay. So that is one thing. Other than that, we know that Iran has some issues with USA. So Iran is trying to use soft power. Okay. So here these are two things. Okay, Iran has announced it was lifting visa requirement for citizens of India as well as 32 other countries. Okay, there will be a visa-free travel for Indian nationals. It is to boost the tourism with more visitors across the world. Iran's commitment to global interaction. Okay, so that is global interaction, etc. These are some kind of soft powers which countries use. Iran aims to counter negative perception. See, as I told you, soft power, they want to counter the negative perception which has been created along the years when we are talking about their conflict with the Western countries. Okay, so now they are trying to change that perception of Iran. That is why they are going for global interactions and tourism, etc. Iran aims to counter negative perception and rumors with this move while combating the phenomena of Iranophobia perpetuated by the global arrogance system, or you can say mostly about the Western countries they are talking about. Okay, so there is this Iranophobia phobia. Okay, so they are trying to counter this narrative and change it. So that is about this article. There is nothing much to discuss over here. Okay, hold on a second. Now there is this news of COVID spreading in Kerala. Okay, and other than that, in USA and China, their cases are also increasing. So there is this new subvariant JN1, that is subvariant of COVID-19, or you can say this is subvariant of BA 2.86, this variant. Okay, it is a close relative of this variant. This variant you don't have to remember because they have been changing for a while now. But the name here is important, that is Spirola. Okay, so when we are talking about the names of the variants like alpha, beta, gamma, all these things, but this name here is Spirola, and from where relates this particular JN1. Okay, there is nothing much, but the thing is I just wanted to mention this particular name. Okay, this one thing, this, and that second is Spirola. Okay, other than that, they are just saying that there is a rise in the cases. That can be because of the number of sample they are taking. Okay, other than that, cases in USA and China are rising, so we are quite concerned about it. So this is a variant of interest right now. The subvariant, however, is not entirely new. It has been detected in the small number in many countries for several months now. Okay, so mutations on the spike proteins of SARS-CoV-2 are important. So basically, when we are talking about how these variants change, so there is change in the spikes. Okay, see here you might see this, there are some small spikes on the virus. These spikes are basically what attach to the other human cells and infect it. Okay, so that is why mutation in this spike led to a change in the variant of corona. Here, mutation on the spike protein of SARS-CoV are important because they are the ones that attach to the receptor on human cells and allow virus to enter. Okay, so these basically spikes here are the one which attach with the human cells receptor and then infect it. Okay, so that is about Kerala reports new corona variant, that is JN1. Okay, center steps up for vigilance. Made in India AI model unveiled. So basically they have named it Krutrim, you can say Krutrim. Okay, so basically it is India's own AI. When we are talking about AIs like Chat GPT, etc., so that is Indian version of that particular AI, that is generative AI, which can generate text and videos, photos, etc. That is about Chat GPT. When we are talking about Krutrim, which means artificial in Sanskrit, and will come in two models, that is a base model and a pro model. Just like Chat GPT, we have a base model and a pro model. For pro model you have to pay for it. Okay, then it is capable of answering people's prompt queries. It understands 22 languages. Okay, it can respond back or generate text in 10 different languages. Okay, that languages include Marathi, Hindi, Bengali, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Odia, Gujarati and Malayalam. Okay, so that is about this particular name, that is Krutrim. Okay, that is all you have to remember for now. Now coming to the today's newspaper, here you can see Parliament security breach is a serious issue and should be no squabbling on it. PM says that just the thing is that opposition should not make a political issue out of it. They should work together on this particular issue. Okay, so you know that there was this few people who has entered the parliament and created some kind of chaos there. So that is about that. Then Assam Rifle plans to change operations for deployment on LAC. Okay, since China is being aggressive on LAC, so they are doing some kind of changes or reforms in the Assam Rifles, and some kind of weaponry is being procured and some technology has been imparted in their operations, etc. So that is about Assam Rifles. When we are talking about Assam Rifles, that is mostly on the northeastern area and on the LAC. Other than that, they also go for the anti-insurgency activities. Okay, so that is about it. We will not go into details of it because obviously they have given some just things that they are adding the technology, they are adding the weaponry, etc. Okay, so you don't have to go into details of it. Then ICMR data leak, 4 held claimed to have stolen FBI Pakistan's CNIC info 2. Okay, so basically this is again a breach of data. Okay, we will talk about it, but there is nothing much to discuss. Then write-off era over asset quality review served banking well. Okay, this is by the SBI chairman. So we will talk about this article for a in a crux. Now Post Office Bill 2023. So why this bill was in news? Because it seeks to repeal a 125 years old Post Office Act, that is from your British era, that is 1898. Okay, so there are certain provisions which has lost the relevance. That is why we are going for the change. Okay, so what is the bill? So in this bill, services available through the post office have diversified since that since 1898. These kind of services post office is providing has gone into a huge change. Then when we are talking about the current generation or use of technology, etc., there are certain kind of changes which has happened in the this particular era when we are talking about the working of the post office or the kind of services post office is dealing right now. So that is why one thing that to accommodate with those services, we are going for the change in this particular act. Then post office network become a vehicle for delivery of different citizen centric services which necessitate the repeal of the old act and enactment of the new. Okay, since it is a 125 years old, making amendments, etc., okay, quite can be can have some kind of technical challenge. Then we are repealing this and we are bringing a new bill. Okay, so that bill has been brought, post office bill to 2023. Rajya Sabha has passed that bill. It is yet to be passed by Lok Sabha. Okay. Now there is one section 9 of the bill which allows center to by notification empower any officer to intercept, open or detain any item in the interest of state security, friendly relation with foreign state, public order, emergency, public safety and contravention to other laws. So basically what they are saying that they can open up any kind of document or letter which has been sent through post. Okay, so this section 9 which will allow center by notification, they can allow any kind of any officer to intercept those letters. Okay, so now there has been some kind of concern related to this particular thing, that what about the privacy, that is one thing. But the thing is they are saying that it should be in the interest of state security, friendly relation with the foreign nation, public order, emergency, public safety, contravention with the other laws. Okay, that is a valid point. Okay, there should be some kind of framework related to that, but the thing is they have not defined things like public order, emergency, okay, public safety. In the interest of public safety, government can use it as a let's say lacuna in the act to go for breach of privacy as well. Okay, so that is one concern here. Okay, this provision also says that the post officers can be given power to hand over any postal item received within or beyond the limits of India to custom officers. If there is some kind of suspicious activity, if they think there is some suspicious content in the document or let's say in the parcel, in that case they can give it to the custom officers. Okay, so that is another thing. Then section 10 exempt the post officers and officers from any kind of liability by the reason of any loss, misdelivery, delay or damage in the course of any service provided by the post office. So earlier there used to be a liability, okay, but now they are saying that if there is some kind of mistake that happens or some kind of misdelivery, so there won't be any liability on the postal officers, okay, that who is kind of delivering it or who are involved in the process. Okay, so that is one exemption they are providing here. Okay, that can be that can affect the efficiency of the services. Okay, now if anyone refuse or neglect to pay the charges of availing the services by the provided by the post office, such amount shall be recoverable as if it were under the area of the land revenue due. Okay, so as we are considering that if there is a due in the land revenue, that is recoverable. Like that only, if someone refused to pay for the services they have opted for, it would be recoverable as well. Okay, now as I told you, Rajya Sabha has passed the bill, it is just to be passed in the Lok Sabha. Then now what did the 1898 Act say? Okay, so there are these provisions what we are talking about, they were already there. Okay, other than that there was one change, which is that at that particular time there was a monopoly of government on the communication. Okay, so when we are talking about 19th century, that it was the first time when such services was introduced, and government has the monopoly because they were a mean wherein government can send their information for the administration. Okay, or you can say so that they can have their rule intact in that particular area. But now the thing is, those things has diversified. Now even the private sector has been involved in this particular sector. So when we are talking about letters, okay, government can open a letter, government can intercept a letter. Earlier, as I told you, that this provisions were there also in the old act. Okay, so why they are going for the new bill? But the thing is, those were only for the post office, okay, not for the private players here. because the private player used to say that this whatever letter or they are saying that this is a document, because there is no definition of the word letter, and the document or the parcel are not included in that. Second thing is the private sector itself was not included in that. Okay. So with this new bill, this private sector will also come under the scrutiny. Okay. So that is one change here. With the rise of the private sector, courier services in the country in 1980s, the government lost its exclusivity. Since neither the Post Office Act of 1989 or the Indian Post Office Rules 1933 had defined the term letter anywhere, it allowed courier services to get away incurring any kind of liability under section 4, calling these courier as documents or parcel. Okay, since section 4 is talking about scrutiny of, or let's say liability of the word letter. Okay, but they are saying that these are not letter, they are document or let's say parcels. Okay, so that is why they were using that kind of loophole. So now government is kind of checking on that, and they are removing, they are actually including private players into this particular act as well. What is the difference between the acts? While the 1898 Act established the center's monopoly covering the letters, private courier have not been regulated by the specific law to date. Now 2023 bill, which allows the government to intercept, detain any postal article opposed to just letters. Okay, so any postal article that includes your documents, that includes your parcels, etc. Okay, moving further, another difference is the removal of the penalties and the offences under 1898 Act. So earlier, as I told you, they have, with the section 10 here, they have actually removed the liabilities on the postal officers. There were earlier liabilities and now they have removed it. Okay, so any kind of offense by post office officials such as misconduct, fraud and theft, that has also been deleted entirely. Okay, so there is no liability, there is no penal action against the these particular officers of post office. Okay, so these are the changes. Here you can see how it can impact the privacy, how it can impact the efficiency of the system. So that is why it has been in news. Okay, now moving further. Logistics, it is the key bottleneck in India's China plus one strategy. So basically, we will, before going into logistics part, I will tell you about this China plus one strategy. As I told you in the start of the lecture that there is a certain geopolitical change. Okay, we know that China has big pockets. China has provided for many things. China has China has provided for loans to various countries and take over their infrastructure over there. Other than that, China has gone for the events, infrastructure building like BRI, etc. Okay, other projects as well. China has their own development bank, etc. But the thing is, now China is facing some kind of economic crisis, or you can say, if not crisis, stagnancy. So now when China is facing economic stagnancy, okay, and the world, when we are talking about USA, UK, they are involved in their own domestic issues, let's say issues of migration, etc. Now who can fill up the void? Okay, so India can be a good option at or you can say India can be a good alternative. Okay, so here India has come up with the India's China plus one policy. China, which is providing for most of the inputs for your manufacturing, plus one means that India can be the plus one, that is which is providing for the alternative destination from where people can import things, okay, for their manufacturing. So India wants to become a manufacturing hub, okay, wherein India's China plus policy can be a good start. Okay, so hold on. So let's come to this particular article. At the time when India is increasingly pitching itself as a possible alternative to China, greater competitiveness in logistics could help the country fend off the challenge from the competitors such as Vietnam and Indonesia. Okay, so when we are talking about the manufacturing sector, okay, Vietnam and Indonesia are doing good. When we are talking about the textile related sector, Bangladesh is doing good. So these are all competitors for India. They can also be an alternative. But if we are going to address our logistical challenges, we can be the one who can be the first one in the race. So now, if we are dealing with these challenges of the logistics, then we can be that manufacturing hub which we are aspiring to become. Okay. So now, improve all manufacturing competence while the center has stepped up its spending on the infrastructure. Deep-seated problems hurt Indian manufacturing and efforts to boost the export. Those problems are basically related to your logistics. When we are talking about logistics, we are basically talking about the connectivity, we are talking about the ease of doing business. All these things are under the logistics part. So here there is this logistics ease across different states leads this index, you can say, or you can say a report which talks about the performance of the various states when we are talking about logistical front. Okay, so they are using different kind of parameters, that let's say quality of roads, terminal, cost of logistics, availability of the skilled workforce. Okay, all these things they are using for their generating a perception about the state. So in their report they have said that how about these landlocked countries are, when we are talking about the logistical part, mostly the coastal area of India is doing good. Okay, because they have ports, since they have ports they have this infrastructure, that is why they are already doing good. Okay, so what about the landlocked state? So according to them, there has been an improvement in the landlocked states, but not with respect to the coastal. Okay, so when we are talking about here, you can see Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Telangana continue to make up for the 70% of the export. Okay, so they are doing 70% of the export. And when we are talking about the these states which are landlocked, okay, so there is a widening of the gap. Okay, now we are doing good on the, we are trying to improve, we are trying to base, build some infrastructure, but still this is a fact that these coastal areas are going for the 70% of the export. Okay, over the years this has caused widening the gap in the income job generation between the landlocked state and the coastal states. That is given because if you are going for the 70% of the export from that particular area only, there will be a gap. Okay, going for export means you are having a manufacturing capacity. If you are having a manufacturing capacity, you are generating jobs. Okay, so if landlocked states are not going for all these things, so obviously there will be a lack of employment over there. Okay, lack of income over there. Now the survey results on the quality of the roads and the terminal said that the Bihar, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh have received low perception score. Basically they are not performing well on that front. When we are talking about Jharkhand is, in the worst performance, okay, you can say. Okay, when we are talking about the user satisfaction, that is another parameter, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and the Punjab has improved. Okay, so these landlocked states are improving, but still they are not in the good condition. Okay, all indicators encompassing infrastructure services and operating the regulatory territory. So basically they are saying that in all those parameters, these states are doing trying to do better, but the thing is we are still lacking behind. What about the northeast group? So basically when we are talking about northeast group, there has been issues related to violence, etc. Because of that, obviously it will impact. No doubt it is doing better because we know that we have a focus on northeast for last few years. Other than that, we have this Act East policy. In that northeast region has been significant, basically of a strategic importance, because it will connect us to the South Asia. So that is why there has been a development, there has been some kind of infrastructure building, there has been connectivity related activities over there. But still, when we are talking about this particular area, this is when in the comparison to the other states, this is lagging behind. Okay, other than that, in northeastern region, if we are talking about, Assam is doing better. Okay, so that is about northeastern group. Then what about the coast, among the coastal states, which one are doing better? So as I told you, these states are Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Telangana is doing good. When we are talking about West Bengal and Odisha, they are lagging behind. Okay, so 75% of the total exports from the country comes from the coastal states. Okay, Gujarat accounts for the 33%. So Gujarat has the largest. Okay, that is 33%. Again, after that, you will see that Maharashtra accounts for only 16%, half of the Gujarat. Okay, and then when we are talking about Tamil Nadu, that is 9%. You can say half of that as well. Okay, other than that, all the countries like all the coastal states like Odisha, West Bengal, Goa, they are not doing performing that better when we are talking about the coastal states. Okay, so that is the report, or the you can say about the logistics. If you want to improve on that, if you want to make sure that this particular strategy works, India's China plus one strategy works, We need to make sure that these landlocked states also perform good. Other than that, northeastern region has a good potential. Okay, we can exploit that. When we are talking about the demography of India, or we have a demographic dividend, we can utilize that so that we can become a manufacturing hub. Okay, that is the way we can replace this China when we are talking about making India as a manufacturing hub. Okay, so mostly if you are trying to do that, you have to build that infrastructure so that we can remove these logistical bottlenecks. Okay, so now moving further, writing of era over asset quality review serve the banking well. So in this article, the chairman of State Bank of India has said that there are certain few things, that is asset quality review, that has been started under the RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan, that has performed well. Other than that, when we are talking about insolvency and bankruptcy law, earlier we did not have that. Okay, now we have that, and that has performed well. Now if you can see, over the last 5 years, the gross non-performing assets of bank has dropped by 46%. Okay, it was from rupees 10.2 lakh, 10.21 lakh crore in the fiscal year 2017-18 to 5.55 lakh crore. Okay, so that is a reduction by 49%. Okay, so that is a huge, you can say, achievement for Indian banking system. So he has said that there are 2 or 3 things, or you can say structural reforms, which has been behind this particular achievement. That is, one is asset quality review. Okay, then second is your this IBC, insolvency and the bankruptcy code. Okay, then other than that, when we are talking about, there are some kind of structural changes. When we are talking about the loan which banks are giving, now they are giving an informed loan. Okay, they are doing a background check, they are going for the credit score. When we are doing all these background check, etc., there are chances that we will reduce on the front of the defaults. Okay, that is why this particular banking sector is now doing better. Okay, lending by banks has become much better and much more informed, with different banks at different stages strengthening their risk management and underwriting. Okay, so because of all these things, this underwriting, when we are talking about this writing off, okay, so earlier what used to be done, that when there was loan waiver, etc., because if you want to improve the balance sheet of the bank, you have to go for waiver, because otherwise they will be reflected as a non-performing assets. Okay, so that is why they used to go for the writing off, etc. But now, since the banks are doing good on that front, because they are giving informed loan, that is why that issue has been solved now. Other than that, when we are talking about the economy, he has said that I would say that perhaps it is the golden phase. Practically all sectors are doing good. Okay, it is a very positive sign. When we look around the globe, the Indian economy is doing very best. It is more because we are all internally focused. Okay, we are focusing on the when we are talking about the microeconomics of the country, we are focusing on that. That is why we are doing better. Okay. Other than that, there was this article, okay, there was this interview wherein they have said that how the banking sector is performing. As I told you, that banking sector is now doing well because they are giving informed loan. There are numbers are one part of the story. Other part of the story is building resilience, structures and the system, which eventually will go in the long way. So basically he is saying that if we are going for the structural reforms, which will help us better in the long way. Okay. Is era of massive write-offs, which we saw in the past, over now? Okay, so they have said that Difference Bank has given gone for the different stages wherein they have gone for the strengthening their risk management system and underwriting practices, insolvencies laws. All these things has created a system wherein this write-off has decreased, so that in that front also we are doing good. Other than that, here they have talked about the economy. As I told you that economy is doing good. Other than here, they have said aspirational classes of the population are mindful of the fact that if at all their credit scores get spoiled, they will have challenges going forward. That is why there is a responsible borrowing on the retail side. When we are talking about the corporate borrowing, they are also going for the responsible borrowing, because now there is informed, when we are saying about the lending, there is informed lending. When we are talking about the middle class or the middle income people or retail lending, here also they are saying that if their credit score is spoiled, so they will face some kind of problems in the future endeavors. Okay, they will not get loan in the future. Okay, so that is about this particular article from the economy section. Now, from Guptas to Mughal, history of Mathura Krishna Janmasthan temple. So they have discussed all the history of it. Okay, here you can say Mathura assumed importance as a trading and the administrative hub during the times of Mauryas. Okay, so since Mauryas, Mathura has the history of being an urban hub. Okay, when there is a urban hub, there will be various economic activities around it. There will be a improvement in art and culture as well. Okay, so this was the time where from where you can see there was some after Mauryas we have seen that there is this Kandhar Mathura school of art and sculptures. Okay, other than that, when we are talking about this has become a urban hub over there. Then with various rulers, there comes this development of art and architecture. Okay, and first Vaishnav temple Krishna Janmasthan site was probably in the 1st century. So there was a temple which has been built over here, a grander form of temple you can say, that is built by the Chandragupta. Okay, also known as the Vikramaditya. Okay, so that is the history of it. Okay, then after that they have said that how it was important, and then how Mahmud of Ghazni has come here, they have attacked here, they have plundered this Mathura. After that, when we are talking about Mughals, after that when we are talking about the Lodi era, Sikandar Lodi has destroyed destroyed this particular temple. Okay, when we are talking about the era of Mughals, so a few rulers like Akbar etc., they have given some kind of grants etc. to build the temple. And then there is Dara Shikoh, he has also helped in the making some kind of stone railing around the temple. Then comes the era of Aurangzeb, wherein Aurangzeb has destroyed the temple and all those things related to let's say Dara Shikoh made the stone railing etc., they have destroyed it because there were few reasons. First thing is that Mathura has helped the Shivaji in their fight. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is Dara Shikoh has given some kind of aids and grant in making this temple better. Okay, he has built some kind of railing around the temple. So now Dara Shikoh was the competitor of Aurangzeb. Okay, they are fighting for their succession. Okay, that is why since Mathura has supported Dara Shikoh, so that was another reason. Okay, other than that, Aurangzeb did have this policy of creating this influence of Islam. Okay, that is why that has happened over there. And then Aurangzeb ordered making this Eidgah over there. Okay, so this is the thing. And then after, when we are talking about the British rule, in the 1803, that Mathura temple has passed to the British rule, and then Britishers has sold it to a person named Jugal Kishore Birla, I guess. Yes, they have sold it to Jugal Kishore Birla. Okay, they have sold it to some king, that is Raja Patnimal. Okay, and they have tried to build this temple, but there was various lawsuit because of which they could not. Okay, there was want of funds as well, and this Raja has sold this, or their successors has sold it to Jugal Kishore Birla. He was an industrialist. He has with the help of other industrialists built the temple in 1953, which completed in 1983. So that is the history of Mathura. Now, why I have taken this particular article? Because they might ask you the socio-ecological, or you can say socio-economic development of Mathura in the ancient, or you can say the relevance or the significance of Mathura in ancient past. Okay, since they have asked about this, I guess temples in South India, how they were center of economic activity as well. So they might ask similar question on Mathura as well. Okay, so that is why I have taken that. If you have the idea of the history, that who came here, who made the settlements, who was the one who has made it as a urban hub, as I told you that Mauryas has developed it as a urban hub. Okay, after that there was development of Mathura style of sculptures. Okay, so all these things has made this economic hub as well. Okay, when there is a religious activity, it will automatically generate some kind of economy over there. Okay, so that is why we have taken this particular article. Other than that, you can also mention this Mughal era's grants etc. Okay, since Akbar has some kind of tolerant perception, that is because Akbar has many Hindus in their court. Okay, so they had some kind of influence. That is why some kind of grant etc. was also given to Mathura temple. Okay, so now moving further, this article from Mehrauli, as I told you, this Mehrauli has become very important in the recent past because they have mentioned it in newspaper for many times. There is another temple, that is your Yogmaya temple. Now I will not be taking this article. You have to do it as your homework. You have to read it and make note out of it. You don't have to go into details of it. Only just think that there is a Hindu temple. Okay, you have to give this particular idea that who built it. It was Akbar II, Emperor Akbar II, and there was a courtman of this particular ruler who has built this particular temple. Okay, so you can give it a look. Okay, now moving further, ICMR data leak. In that particular case, Indian Council of Medical Research, their data has been breached. Okay, so data of nearly 81 crore Indians has been leaked, and there are 4-5 people responsible for it. They are also saying that they have leaked data of FBI, etc. Okay, here issue is that there is a issue related to data protection. Okay, in that regard, we have this data protection bill or data protection. Okay, so we are talking about all these things, personal data protection, etc. Okay, there is this committee, that is BN Sri Krishna committee, related to this particular issue as well. Okay, now this matter has been given to CERT-IN. Okay, that is Computer Emergency Response Team India. Okay, this is the nodal agency to deal with the cyber security threats such as hacking and phishing. Okay, so what all I wanted to tell here is that this is an issue which we might have discussed in the past. Okay, other than that, these few names, BN Sri Krishna committee, CERT-IN, all these things are important for your exam point of view. Okay, now Ukraine targets Russian airbase, second day of the drone strike. So they are doing this attacks one after another. So they have Ukraine has targeted territory, Russian territory, wherein Russian military airport is there. Okay, now in that regard, it becomes important when we are talking about Ukraine. There is this issue related to NATO, that Ukraine is going to enter into the NATO camp. Okay, considering that Biden has said that US President Joe Biden has said that Russia would attack a NATO country if it won the war in Ukraine. Okay, so actually when in the wants of fund, okay, so USA President is saying that these Congress over there, the Senate, they have to give the funds. Otherwise, if Russia won this war in Ukraine, they might attack on any other NATO country. Okay, so Russia has said that we have no fight, no interest in fighting any NATO country, and they have somehow criticized this particular remark by President Biden. Okay, so now we can say that this particular Ukraine war, after Ukraine war, the relations between Russia and the West has been on their worse after the Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, so Cuban Missile Crisis happened in 1962. That is important fact for you from this article. Okay, now over 60 lakhs migrant vessel, over 60 killed as migrant vessel capsized in the off Libya coast. Okay, so there were few people who were crossing this particular area from Libya and entering into Europe. Okay, as I told you earlier as well, that there are certain things when we are talking about migration. Okay, most of the countries like USA, UK, etc., they are now looking inside and they are thinking that migrants should be kept out of their countries. Okay, so now I have taken this article to tell you 2-3 things. That one thing is that this Libya was under Saddam Hussein at particular point of time. Mohammed Gaddafi. Okay, it was under Mohammed Gaddafi, that was the ruler. Okay, in 2011. After that, this particular area has always been in crisis. Okay, so that is one thing about Libya, that Libya is disturbed area. This is in the crisis. Because of that, most of the people are trying to get out of it. Other than that, also when we are talking about the Africa, the Sahel region, etc., that has always been in some kind of issues. Okay, so that is why that becomes important. Now what they do is they enter through African continent to the Mediterranean, and using this sea, they enter into Europe in the coastal areas. Okay, so that becomes the migratory routes, and most of the countries in Europe, let's say the big countries like France, USA, they are kind of concerned about it. Okay, so any country can give refuge to a particular amount of people. Okay, until unless it is harming their own domestic population. So now these countries are looking inside now. Okay, so now here you can see these are the key routes, that central Mediterranean route, that is here you can see from Libya, from these countries like this, they enter into Mediterranean. Okay, and then there are some eastern Mediterranean routes from the Turkey sides, then from the land routes are there. But the thing is, this is very important, this route from the African continent to crossing the Mediterranean, that is quite important here, because that has been used widely for illegal migrations. Okay, so that is there. Now they are poisoning over the blood. As I told you that this article, there is nothing much into it. As I told, I took this article to tell you that, as I told you, these countries are now looking inward. Okay, now Trump is going for the second term. Okay, and that is why he is making this issue of migrants again. Okay, that is kind of giving some kind of discrimination like activities, or you can say here there is a rhetoric of Nazi rhetoric. Okay, so they want to throw these people out of their countries. So undocumented immigrants were poisoning the blood of our country. So all these things, such statements are not good coming from a democracy like that. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about this Sunak asylum seeker could overwhelm the part of Europe. Here also they are simply they are saying that these migrants which are coming here, these refugees, these asylum seekers are coming here, they are ultimately overwhelming the parts of Europe. This Europe is not in position to sustain all those things, and that all those people now they are trying to send them back to the Rwanda. Okay, and UK is paying some kind of money to this country as well. Okay, so that is why I have taken this. Now UNSC reforms, you know that when we are talking about these reforms in UNSC, recently this Russia-Ukraine issue has happened, then Israel-Palestine issue has happened. UN could have done better if they had the more representation. But the thing is, they did not have this representation. When we are talking about Russia-Ukraine, Russia is going to veto all the resolutions. And when we are talking Israel-Palestine issue, USA is going to go for the vetoes. Okay, in that situation, we are saying that reforms are necessary, and most of the country, when we are talking about the 200 countries, most of the countries are saying that reforms are necessary now. Okay, here our external affairs minister said that the UN Security Council is like an old hub where there are a set of members who don't want to let go of the grip. They want to keep control over the club and not keen to admit more members, and are not keen to have their practices questioned. So basically they are saying they are not wanting to let go of their power. Okay, so they are basically talking about the permanent five over here. Okay, in a way it is a human failing, but I think today it is harming the world because of the key issues confronting in the world and the UN getting less and less effective. As I told you, issues like Russia-Ukraine crisis, Israel-Palestine issue, all these things are having an impact on the humanities as well. Okay, so that is why UN is becoming less and less effective. Here they have, if you ask the 200 countries of the world that do you want reforms or do you don't want reforms, they will say yes, we want reforms, because that was invented at a time when the membership of UN was 50 countries. So basically they are saying that at the time when the membership was 50 countries, you have given 5 members as a permanent membership. Okay, now this membership has increased to 200 people, still you are having that same representation over here. There is a size of business which has increased to 4 times, but the people who are or the you can say the directors are the same. Okay, so now they are wanting reforms over here as well. Okay, yet you don't want to change the original promoters of the business. It's not fair. Okay, so now there is a realization that there should be reforms. There are countries which are in favor of India's you can say contesting this permanent seat here. There are 3 of the 6 nations comprising of Gulf Cooperation Council. Okay, so there is this India and GCC contours of cooperation, wherein 3 of these countries are in favor of us and 3 are yet to come. Okay, but they have not said they are not in favor, but they will join sooner or later. Other than that, we can say that these countries like USA is in favor of India getting a permanent seat. Second thing is countries like Turkey, they are also in favor of India. Okay, so ultimately these countries UAE, Oman, Bahrain have conveyed their support for India's permanent seat. Okay, and Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Qatar have yet to do so. Okay, so this is about this particular article. These facts you can mention that there is a India GCC contour of cooperation. You can talk about Turkey's support to India. You can talk about USA's support to India. You can talk about this particular analogy where 50 to 200 membership has increased from 50 to 200, but the promoters has been same 5. Okay, so that is about this article. Now we will go to the practice question which was given to you in the previous class. That is, which of the following best describes the production link incentive scheme introduced by the Indian government? Okay, that was simple question. Answer is C, a scheme offered by the offering financial incentives to the boost in the production in the selected sectors. As I told you, there are only 14 selected sector in which the government of India is giving some kind of incentives to boost the production. Okay. Moving further, which of the following country is not located at the Horn of Africa? We have discussed this Horn of Africa region. Okay, that is why I have given this question. Options are A. Somalia, B. Ethiopia, C. Eritrea, D. Ghana. Okay, so you have to attempt this question and answer in the comment box. Moving to the question for your mains. Explore the multidimensional social economic facet that made Mathura a pivotal center in the ancient India. As I told you, they can ask such questions. So that is why I have put this question. How did this geographical location and the trade networks foster a prosperous society influencing art and architecture of and the urban development? Okay, so we have discussed it. Other than that, you can go to your static notes. You can take some pointer from there and write this particular answer. So here you have to discuss the socio-economic as well as the political facets. They have mentioned only socio-economic, but they have said that there are multi-dimensional facets. Okay, so you can discuss that. Other than that, here you have to suppose you have to mention this art and architecture, culture related aspects, and then urban development, trade related aspects. Okay, so all these things you have to include in your answer. When we are writing an answer, we have to make sure that whatever information they are trying to expect out of us, we have to mention all these things. Here when we are reading this question, in the prima facie we can see that they are talking about the socio-economic as well the art and culture only. Okay, but the thing is they are talking about various facets of it. Okay, if you are addressing all of them one by one, okay, you will fetch good marks. Okay. So that is about today's session. I will wrap up the session here. I will see you in the next slide. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.